Today we're going to talk about bidding. So let me bring the spreadsheet up. The bidding tab, that's what we're working on here. And you're going to see three sections: tiers, types, which also includes max bids, and the actual bidding. For the first table, tiers, you do need to know what tier you're in. We can talk about how to find the tier in a different video. If you're new, you're going to be tier 3. Basic gist of it is you have a global tier, which is this column. That's what you are on everybody. And then if you meet some qualifiers over here, you can have an alternate tier on a couple of different players that you're losing to free agency. So for example, I'm tier 3 this year, but on guys I qualify for that I'm losing to free agency, AJ Pollock, Clayton Kershaw, I'm going to be bidding as a tier 1 bidder on those specific players, but not on anybody else. Little cheat sheet, come over to the tiers tab. Everybody's tier is listed in tab A, or column A here. Okay. This part, player types and our max contracts, this tells us what our maximum bid on a player is, what we're allowed to use. And to save us some work this year, Troy went and he put together our, see where it is, it's right here. He put together our player types so that we don't have to figure them out. He did it already. So we'll come over here quick, side by side, or I could just blow the whole thing up. Come on now. You'll see type A guys: Arenado, Harper, Cole, and Scherzer. And B, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but you can get the gist. If the guy is in this grouping, these are your max bids. Pull that back up. And you're going to see that you have two different types of max bids you can make: a 4 or 5 year and a 1 or 2, 3 years. We have max bids because in the past we had owners come in here and make just absolutely ridiculous contracts, and then they quit on us. We had one owner whose maximum salary cap was about $100 million, and he bid $36 million a year for 5 years in Carl Crawford, and then he quit on us. And that contract was just a millstone that bounced around. Guys would have to give up good prospects to get it off their team so that they have cap to work with. So now we have max contracts. And then we're going to move quickly to this table. This is how we bid. This allows us to bid across multiple years. How do you know that a 1-year bid for this amount is more valuable than a 5-year bid for this amount? We'll use the table. So you have 1 through 5, those are years, and 1 through 5, those are years. If you're using a same year bid, you will always add at least 0.1 mil. And I also have to emphasize that when we're using a low salary on bids, like it's just starting out and you're moving back and forth, I want to give the guy a 1-year contract, you want to give him a 3-year contract. As we're going back and forth, it is possible that the amounts that it yields will be less than 0.1 mil for same years. So my 1-year bid is whatever it is, you bid up with a 3, and I subsequently bid back again on a 1-year bid. If it's not more than, it has to be at least this number, more than the previous bid that I made, then you got to round up here. I feel like I'm babbling a little bit, so let me just show you. Let's just do it like that. Come over to the forum, and first thing we're going to have to know is where are you going to make your bids. And that is down here under transactions, free agency, and you'll see that we have right now it's 2019. This is a new board, so we only have 1 year on here. 5 years from now there'll be 5 different years of free agency classes. So I'm going to pull that up. Down here you'll see where Troy gave us our player types, and then this is most of the eligible free agents Troy put here for us too. So shout out to Troy for doing some work for us. There are 3 places for where we post the free agents. In the off season, which is when I'm making this video, we only have veterans and developing players to work with. There are no prospects that are eligible to be taken in free agency during the off season. And then I'm going to focus on veterans because the developing players that are available this time of year, they're guys that are non-roster invites that you're not going to be spending too much money on. So the only thing I'll say for those is if you're taking them to auction, you're only allowed to use 1-year bids on developing players. So let's focus on our veterans here. And we're going to go and create a new thread. And I'm going to write the word demo right here so that when this posts, the rest of the league doesn't think free agency opened and start a whole bunch of auctions. So we're going to go ahead and let's say we're going to bid on Gerrit Cole, a type A free agent. And we're the first guy making a post, so we're starting the auction on Gerrit Cole. So we're going to have Gerrit Cole. The name of the auction, this thread, is the player's name, and then if he has a type, you have to put his type here. So Gerrit Cole type A. That's how we're going to start this. Now the next thing that we're going to do is, because this is the first post, we're going to give a little bit of info on Gerrit Cole. There's only one Gerrit Cole, but on the off chance there was a first baseman named Gerrit Cole for the Royals, now we just said which one we're bidding on. Alright. And then every bid that you make is going to need this. It's your tier. For me, I'm tier 3 this year. So tier 3. And my opening bid, I'm going to just keep it real easy. I'm going to bid 1 year, 1 mil. So when we make bids, this number, the 1 mil, it's the AAV, average annualized value. It's not the total of the contract. Now in this case it is, because the AAV on the 1 year bid is the total of the contract, but I want to emphasize that so that you don't jump on here and make a 5-year $25 million bid thinking you're bidding $5 million a year. You wouldn't be. You'd be bidding $25 million. Alright, so I was the first bidder, so I had to put his type, I had to put his position and team. Now on every bid I make, I put my tier. Here's my bid. The next thing I'm going to put, and this part is also mandatory, I am at 39 of 40. That's referencing my 40-man roster, and I'm telling you I have one space open on it. And the reason that's mandatory is because we need to make sure you're staying on top of your 40-man rosters. Your 40-man roster can never have more than 40 players on it, and we can't have a guy coming in here and winning 6 auctions, having 46 players on his 40-man, not addressing that, and then quit. And then Greg and I have to sit down and try and figure out what the roster is supposed to look like for a new owner. So every bid you make, you need to have your 40-man roster situation. That is mandatory. One other thing you can do that's optional, I'll show you on a let's just leave it like this and I'll show you next. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create thread. So here we are. If I go to the veterans tab here, there's the auction, demo Gerrit Cole type A, and you come along and you want to bid me up. And you want to bid a 5-year deal. So what I'm going to do is pick a team here. Let's go with Atlanta. He's a tier 2. So I'm going to pretend I'm Breck right now, bidding for Atlanta on tier 2. And he wants to bid a 5-year deal. Pull up our calculator here. Don't really need it for this, but we're going to do it anyways. He knows that I bid 1 year, 1 million. So we're in this column. And he wants to top my bid with a 5-year deal. So he's looking for this. Multiplied by 0.52. So he would take 1, multiply by 0.52, and this would be his bid. Then he would come over here, and he would say, tier 2, because I'm pretending to be Atlanta, 5 years, 0.52 mil, that's the AAV, and I'm going to pretend that Breck has a full 40-man roster, 40 of 40. So I've met all the mandatory requirements. There's an optional step he can take, and that is to type this DFA. I don't really know off the top of my head who's on his team. Let's just say Josh Bell. Obviously he wouldn't be doing this, but DFA Josh Bell. Why would he type that? Alright, so you have 48 hours after you win an auction to address your DFA situations. You have to get your roster cleaned up. Further, when you have a 40 man that's not compliant, you're not allowed to make any other transactions until you fix it. You can't win any more auctions, you can't trade players, you have to address it. What this is, the reason that in La La Land here, Breck is saying he's going to DFA Josh Bell. If he's not around, something came up, he had an emergency at home, whatever, he's telling the league who he wants DFA'd, and we'll do it for him. And his roster's compliant, and he can continue to win bids that he made that he's offline and can't handle this right now. You do not have to type who you're going to DFA, but if you don't type who you're going to take care of, who's going to address this 40-man situation, and then you don't show up, Greg and I, and probably a third person we volunteer, we're going to pick who to DFA for you. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to look at your 40-man, and our primary goal as LMs is to make sure we have a competitive league. So we're not going to take anybody that can help you during the Major League season. So if you got prospects on your 40-man, you can expect one of those to be the mandatory DFA. Again, if you take care of it yourself, don't worry about it. Or if you're afraid you won't be around, type who you want, and your wishes will be followed. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to bid me up. He's a tier 2, 5-year bid, 0.52 mil, full 40-man. This will be his DFA if it comes up. Boom, post quick reply. Now it's possible that you have, in this pretend Breck's case, he's got a full roster, and he may have 6 outstanding bids, and he puts DFA Josh Bell on all of them, and then he wins all of them. He's going to have to get on here and address those other 5. Or you could put a different person for each one. You could even leave full-blown instructions on here if you want. DFA Josh Bell first, DFA Austin Hedges second, whatever you want to do. The only thing that's mandatory is tier, the bid, and what your 40-man looks like. So now we're going to just keep going again. So a third guy comes in. We're going to go with a new owner. Let's take, doesn't really matter, let's take Rick with Milwaukee. He's tier 3. And he would like to have a 3-year bid. So he's going to get out his calculator. He knows that the bid is 0.52. He wants to go from 5 years to 3 years. So he has to multiply by 1.43 times 1.43. And so this is going to round to 0.74. And he'll come over here. And this is Rick. He's tier 3. He's bidding 3 years at 0.74 mil per year. I don't know his exact number off the top of my head. Let's say it's 37 of 40. So he doesn't need to DFA anybody if he wins this auction. This is going to be his bid. So now he's the top bidder on a 3-year deal. I'm going to come back in with my 1-year bid. Do this one more time. So I got to beat 0.74 on a 1-year bid. So to go from a 3 to a 1, I got to go 1.43 on his number. So we're going to go 0.74, get rid of all that extra gibberish, times 1.43. Now, this is what I was trying to talk about earlier. You see how it says 1.06? Well, that's not 1.1. Remember, I have to beat all like-year bids by at least 0.1. So I come back here, there's a 1-year bid at 1 mil. So in order to top that, no matter what the table says for this, I still have to be at 1.1 to beat this. So I see that this number is too short. Comes out to 1.06. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tier 3, 1 year, 1.1 mil, and I'm at 39 of 40, and that's my bid. So that's the quick crash course in bidding here in FFS. Got a couple other things we need to talk about when bids get higher, when we're at 10 mil or more. So if we have a bid that's 5 years, let me actually make a legal bid here, tier 3, 5 years, and we'll say 18 mil, and I'm at 39 of 40. Should point out you are allowed to bid yourself up, but it has to be an up bid. You have to use the table. You have to be bidding more. You might do this because you want to change the years of your bid. You might do this because you want to stall the clock. You are allowed to bid yourself up. So I went and I took it to 18 million. And Brett comes along and thinks, I really like Gerrit Cole, and 18 million seems like a good number. I don't want to go higher than that. So he's just going to put tier 2, match, because we have tie bids in this league. And then I think we said he was at 40 of 40. He's not going to put who his DFA is. Breck's on every day. He'll take care of it. So he matches. Well, now what the heck happens? This is where tiebreakers come in. We do have tiebreakers. Briefly, the gist of the system is we want to encourage teams to both win. This isn't a top prospect league. It's a fantasy baseball league. It's okay to tear your team down and try to rebuild as long as you meet our minimums. But we have had guys that just seem to do that every year. If that's what they want to do and they're having fun, that's cool. But the best interest of the league is that everyone's somewhat competitive. We got to try to get to that place. So we want to encourage you to win, but we also want to encourage you to try and keep your players. So if you have loyalty, you already know that we have hometown discounts, and if you don't know we have hometown discounts, you'll find that in the rules, how to figure out what your discounts are. A discount is taken after the auction is won, so remember that. And then because we have max salaries, we actually even have a max contract, there is the chance that more than one people want to put that max contract out there. Well, how do we figure out who gets it? So for bids that are at least 10 mil in AAV, whether it's 1 year 10 mil or 3 years 10 mil per year, you can start matching. You can start tying. Then we have to go to tiebreakers, which we'll go to the tier tab. First tiebreaker is your tier. So I'm tier 3, Breck's tier 2. If we're tied, Breck wins. End of story. Let's say him and Brian are both bidding on the same guy, and there's a match. What do we do? They're both tier 2. Well, the next step was the guy penalized in the most recent season? Yes. Breck was, Brian wasn't. Brian wins. Let's say it was Anthony and Brian. So these two guys. Same tier. Neither one of them was penalized. Next thing we're looking for is another banners tab. Have you ever won a FFS World Series? Anthony has. Wins the tie. And then next, say it's Greg and Anthony, both tier 2 guys here. Both tier 2, no penalties, one banner. Then we come all the way here to where it says total. This is their 3-year win total combined. You can see the year 1, year 2, year 3 wins. Greg has 510 wins the last 3 years. Anthony has 403. Greg wins. On the off chance that both owners are the same all the way across, they both have tier 2, they both have no penalty, one banner, 510 wins. At that point, we're going to have to go to the claim order. This is our default tiebreaker for basically anything that doesn't involve standings, but we'll go here. We've never had a free agent tie come this far. It's pretty hard to have matching wins over 3 years and be in the same tier. So that's how we handle our tiebreakers. Come back to our bidding tab here. I know that's a concept some guys kind of scratch their head at. Most leagues don't do it this way. Couple other things we got going on is we allow sign-in trades for people you had a hometown discount on. You'll have 48 hours from when you win the auction to trade the guy. So this kind of gives, you may not have the cap to keep your guy, you may not think it's in your best interest to keep the guy, but you would bid on him. You're going to want to have the deal worked out in advance. You'll go up to another owner you see bidding and you say, hey, you want to save whatever your discount is. I want to save 10% on this player. This is what I want. And he'll say, oh yeah, okay. So you make an arrangement. You know what you're going to trade. then he's going to stop bidding and let you bid because your bid is going to be cheaper than his at the end. So let me come back here. Let's say that this player was Breck's. It's not, it's Scott's, but let's say Gerrit Cole was coming off Breck's team. He matched my bid and he won 5 years, $18 million. He put the 20% tag, again, please see the hometown discount rules. He put the 20% tag on Gerrit Cole, and he won with a 5-year, $18 mil bid. I'm going to come here, I'm going to go 18. We're going to save 20%, so we're only going to pay 80% of the contract. So Breck's winning bid is actually going to be 5 years, $14.4 million. And then if you had a sign and trade involved, well, say the guy Rick, who was involved earlier, wants to win this guy, and he knows that A, Breck has a better tier, and B, Breck has a discount. Maybe he made an arrangement with Breck. Hey Breck, I'll give you these 2 prospects and a draft pick. If you go win Gerrit Cole for me, I want a salary under this amount. Breck goes and wins it. They post the trade in the time frame, and now Max Scherzer's on Milwaukee at $14.4 million. If we think of anything else, we'll make a post. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us on the forum. We hope you enjoy free agency and your time here at FFS. Have a good day.